Hi, my name is David Donnell. This is for American Military University, American Public University, my final project for my motor learning class. My final project is going to be a Concept 3 General Motor program with 2 different motor skills that use the same General Motor program. The exercises that I'll be using for these 2 different motor skills are the back squat and the long jump. The first portion of this project is the muscles that are used for the back squat and the long jump. I got the muscles used from the website exrx.net. Now for the squat. The squat muscles that are used are the quadriceps. You got the 4 muscles in the quadriceps, which is the rectus femoris, the vastus lateralis, the vastus intermedius, and the vastus medialis. Then you have the gluteus maximus. You have the adductor magnus. This is one of the groin muscles. You have the 2 muscles in the calf, which is the soleus and the gastrocnemius. Then you have the hamstrings, 4 hamstrings in the muscles, which are the biceps femoris, the long and short head, semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus. Then you have the core muscles to keep you stable while you're going up and down in the back squat. Those muscles are the rectus spinae, which is the muscles that parallel the spine. Then you have the rectus abdominis, your abdominal muscles, and then you have your obliques, your side muscles right here. The difference between the use of muscles in the long jump and the back squat are the back squat or long jump does not use your rectus spinae, which are the 2 muscles here, just because you don't have any weights up on the upper body that needs to stabilize when you're doing the long jump. Now the long jump is a different exercise. Even though they use the same general motor program, there are a couple things different, so they use different muscles. Mainly the upper body muscles used to get the exercise going. The long jump muscles used are the lips psoas, which are hip flexor muscles in the internal of the hip joint. You have the tensor fasciae latae, probably see that up, which are your lateral hip muscles right here. Then you have the sartorius, which is the longest muscle in the body, which attaches to the lateral portion of your hip joint, wraps around the anterior portion of your thigh, and goes to the medial portion of your knee. Then you have another groin muscle, your pectineus, and the next muscle is your popliteus, which is the small muscle in the posterior portion of the knee. And you also use another groin muscle, which is gracilis. Now, because you need to do plantar flexion, which is different than you need to do in the back squat, you don't need to do plantar flexion. You need to use other muscles. You use the muscles of plantar flexion, which are on the arch and heel of your foot, right up here. Those muscles, there are 4 muscles that are used in that plantar flexion, and they are the plantaris, the tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis posterior, and the flexor digitorum longus. Now, as I explained before, the major difference between the long jump and the back squat is the upper body muscles. Your upper body muscles used to facilitate the movement of the long jump are your deltoids, your pectoralis major, your coracobrachialis, which is in your armpit here, your biceps brachia, your serratus anterior, which are the muscles right here that are attached to your rib cage, your pectoralis minor, which is underneath your pectoralis major, your levator scapula, which is the muscle right here, and then your trapezius, which is just posterior to your levator scapula. Alright, now we go to the order of activation for your muscles. The order of activation is pretty much similar, just not as intense between the back squat and the long jump. The only thing different in the order of activation is you don't activate your upper body muscles until you're actually doing the movement of the long jump. And also, you don't activate your muscles in the long jump as much as you do when you're in the long jump and when you're going down to get to the preload part of the long jump. All right, now we'll go to the actual squat itself. Now the squat, use the barbell. You want to make sure you use proper form. If you don't use proper form in the squat, you can easily injure yourself. So it's important to make sure your eyes are straight ahead. Your feet and knees are pointing in the same direction, and your feet are about shoulder width apart. Now, right now, my muscles are activated to make sure I can stabilize this weight. It's obviously pretty easy right now because all I'm doing is using the barbell. But when you got a lot of weight, you can feel your muscles getting activated. You also want to make sure, proper form, that you don't lock your knees out, especially when you're actually doing the exercise. That's definitely a safety factor. When you do Now, there's two phases in muscle activation of back squat. The two phases are the eccentric or lengthening contraction portion, or the concentric or shortening portion of your muscles when you're working out. So when you're going down, you're doing the eccentric portion, your lowering phase, and the muscles are lengthening, and they are activated. As you get down to your bottom portion of your squat, this is where you start, where you do the standing phase, and this is where you're shortening the muscles, you're doing the concentric portion. So that is the back squat. A similarity between the back squat and the long jump is the same as in the lower body. You are activating the muscles when you go down in the long jump position. You're going down the preload phase like this. This is the eccentric short lengthening portion, and then you do the concentric portion, which is the shortening portion, where you do the. Now, when you're going down, though, your upper body's relaxed, and your muscles aren't activated. Muscles aren't activated until you use the portion you're moving your arms forward to facilitate the movement of the long jump. All right, now we go with forced muscle contraction. Forced muscle contraction, this is the third phase of the project, third section, and it varies between the long jump and back squat, depending on the type of workout you do. There's three types of workouts you can do, there's three variabilities in the workout for a back squat. You have your weight, you have your sets, your repetitions. The sets don't really mean anything as far as the forced muscle contraction, except when you're getting towards the end, you might be getting tired. But for the most part, that's not doesn't really matter. Now, the weight and the amount of repetitions, you two make a big difference between the force and muscle contraction. The force, when you're doing one repetition maximum, is going to be obviously, since you're trying to lift as much weight as you possibly can in one repetition, will actually be the most amount of force that you can put in the body, or your muscles can do. But if you're going for something different, say 30 repetitions, you obviously can't do 1 repetition maximum, or 100% of the most weight you can do. So the force and muscle contraction won't be as much as you did from 1 repetition maximum. That force is obviously going to be different than the long jump. Long jump is the force and muscle contraction is fairly similar to 1 repetition maximum. That 1 repetition maximum is obviously the most amount of force you can put in, because you're trying to put the most amount of weight. Same thing you're doing the plyometric exercise. When you're doing the plyometric long jump exercise, you're trying to do the most explosive power that you can get out of it. When you're doing that explosive thing, that's the 100% force, or 100% use of your muscles that you're trying to get out of it, so you're doing the maximum force and muscle contraction. So that's the difference. With the long jump and the back squat can be similar if they're doing their maximum, but they will be different if you're not doing the maximum. Now, the duration of muscle contraction is different in regards to both the long jump and back squat regardless. The long jump is quick, explosive, and it's going to be 100% each time, and it's going to be as fast as you can do it. And which usually means as far as you can go. Whereas the back squat, it'll differentiate between how many sets you're doing, or not how many sets, but how many repetitions you're doing. It'll change. If you're doing a 1 repetition maximum, usually it's going to be fairly slow, even though you'd like to do it as fast and get it over as much as possible. It usually takes, you're doing as much as you can, the duration usually be slow. It can also be slow if you're doing the eccentric exercise, because when you're going down the lowering phase, you're slowing it up, trying to do 2 to 3 second lowering eccentric contraction to focus on that type of workout. But if you're doing something like a 30 repetition workout, you're trying to focus on lower weight, maybe endurance and the duration of muscle contraction will be a lot faster, but it won't be nearly as fast as the long jump. That concludes my video. I'd like to thank you for watching.